To accomplish great things, we must not only act.
Agna, ma'am. Agna, please. Agna, 1 minute. Huh? Wait, just.
To accomplish great things, we must not only act but also dream, not only plan but also believe. Anatole France. Avenue 2021 is organized with the vision to empower and facilitate students to navigate their future and make their dreams real. Programs like Avenue 2021 play an important role in guiding and shaping the future of the youth. It promises to bring the global student community under one canopy, where students receive coverage not only from the local Indian schools in Sultanate of Oman, but also from the other school boards such as CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB, spanning across the MENA region and countries across the Southeast Asia.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Avenue 2021, a global virtual career guidance program launched by Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir under the aegis of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. On behalf of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, your host for today's program, myself Shubham of Class 11,
and Agna of Class 9,
take the proud privilege of expressing our profound gratitude to His Majesty Haitham bin Tariq Al Said for the noble benevolence showered on the Indian community in the Sultanate of Oman. We, the Indian expatriates, are fortunate indeed to enjoy a world-class quality of life in a country that is modern, peaceful, and full of natural beauty. May the Almighty shower His choicest blessings on His Majesty, and may this nation experience peace and everlasting prosperity.
It gives me immense pleasure to wholeheartedly welcome dignitaries from Ministry of Education, Dr. Shivakumar Manikam, Honorable Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Sultanate of Oman, members of various boards of directors, CBSE officials, distinguished members of the MOE Oman, officials of the Embassy of India, Sultanate of Oman, Mr. Alkesh Joshi, Honorary President of the School Management Committee, Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, President and members of the School Management Committees of all the Indian schools in Oman and from other schools and boards across the globe, principals, vice principals, heads of various departments, coordinators, teachers, parents, staff, and students of all the participating schools. Welcome all.
We cordially welcome distinguished members of the business community, members of the education cell. A very warm welcome to all present here virtually with us for the session on day 4 of Avenue 2021, which is set to be a 9-day global career guidance program. Day 4 reflects intrapersonal intelligence, which is related to self-awareness and the ability to recognize one's strengths and weaknesses. Students having a high quotient of this intelligence can excel as researchers, philosophers, counselors, and therapists. This year, Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir is the proud torch bearer of this mega event under the aegis of the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman. Welcome all once again.
Dear audience, it is our pleasure and privilege to have you all here with us on this journey of transforming your dreams into reality. You are requested to fill in the feedback form, which will be posted in the chat box towards the end of the session. Filling this form is necessary as it will fetch you a participation certificate. For those who have joined through YouTube, are requested to check the description box for the link of the feedback form. You are also requested to post your queries in the chat box. Our distinguished speaker will answer them in the question and answer session.
Today, we are honored to have with us an eminent representative, Mr. Fazil Jaffer from Murdoch University, Australia, who would discuss programs and courses the university offers. Before that, let's watch a video presentation about the university. That was indeed a splendid video. Now, I call upon our guest speaker for the session, Mr. Fazil Jaffer from Murdoch University, Australia. Over to you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you very much to the compares for such an excellent opening. And thank you very much for inviting me to this presentation today. Good afternoon, everyone. And I say good afternoon because here in Perth, it's about 1:40 p.m. And I think over there where you are is probably 4 hours behind. So good morning to you all. Welcome to the Murdoch University presentation. My name is Fazil. I represent Murdoch University. It's a public university in Western Australia, which is the only capital or the only state located in the western side of the country. And we are in the city called Perth, and Perth is the capital city of Western Australia. Just a bit of background about myself. I'm actually originally from Singapore. I moved to Perth after high school when I told my parents I wanted to experience studying overseas, and but because they didn't want me to be too far away from home, we decided to choose Australia and Perth as a destination, because Perth is effectively less than 5 hours from Singapore. It is the closest Australian city to Asia. What was meant to be just a three years bachelor degree continued until almost 20 years now, because I was one of the few fortunate students who was offered a job at the university to continue my life and continue my journey and to start my career after my studies as an education counselor at the university. And I've been here for almost 20 years. It's an amazing city. I know many of you are looking around, where do I want to go? What do I want to study? Which city should I go to? Should I go to US, Europe, or Australia? And you continue to do this research until you find the right option for you. But today, you could include Perth as an option for your destinations to see whether it is a suitable destination for you, and to see whether Murdoch University is one that you would like to consider, just like me, from a student to now living here and continuing my career, which has given me, and Perth itself as a city has given me a huge opportunity to build myself up and my career to where I am today. So what I'm going to do today is to help you start seeking of, because many of you will be looking at what to study after your year 12. So I'm going to share with you what you can do in your university degree, where you can study, so learn a little bit more about Murdoch University, and also about Perth City, and if it's a city for you and a university for you to consider. I'm going to share my screen right now. Please, can someone tell me if, or maybe the compares can tell me, give me a thumbs up if you can actually see my screen.
Yes, sir, we can.
Wonderful, that's great. Let me just quickly open up the slideshow. Now, looking at the global map, at the bottom right is a map of Australia, and the orange dot is Western Australia. So that's where we are located. Perth is the capital city of Western Australia, and many of you would also have heard of cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Brisbane. Those cities are located in the eastern side of the country. Now, when you choose a destination, when it comes to finances, like how much it's going to cost you to study overseas, I think you need to consider two things financially. One is the cost of the program. How much is it going to cost me to study science, arts, engineering, or business? And the other big cost is the living cost. It's something that you need to spend time with your family and look at what's affordable when you choose the different destinations. So to help you, to give you an idea about the living cost in Australia, if you're considering Australia as a destination, this is an infographic that I pulled out from a journal called The Economist. So they run a measure of living cost of every city on earth. And they do this rating on a year-to-year basis. And the most recent one was just before COVID. In that ranking, Perth was rated 46 in the world for most expensive cities. But if you look at the bigger picture within Australia, Sydney was ranked 10th in the world for most expensive cities. Melbourne 14th, Adelaide 30th, Brisbane 26th, and then you have Perth at 46. From this infographic itself, effectively, you can see that Perth, when compared with other cities, is the most affordable in Australia. So if the living cost is a huge factor as well, so this is something to give you an idea of what to expect when it comes to managing your budget to live in Perth or to live in Australia broadly. And I'll share with you how much you need on a month-to-month basis to live in Australia or live in Perth. Now, this was the most recent graph that we got, or rather chart that we got back in July. That was the last rating that was done by The Economist as well, to look at most livable cities. We've constantly been in the top 10, but this is the first time that Perth is rated number 6 in the world for being the most livable city, and the first time that we're ahead of other Australian cities like Melbourne and Sydney. Brisbane is also ranked 9, Melbourne is ranked 8. The only Australian city that's just ahead of us by 3 spots is Adelaide, but being in the top 6, it really tells something about the quality of life that you get out of studying in Perth. The measure is based on the infrastructure, the health system, education, lifestyle, and livability. So we're very proud to share that we're one of the most livable cities in the world, and that's something that we will continue to be proud of for people living here in Perth. Now, one of the things that international students look for when they choose Australia as a destination is not just what to study and where to study, but it's also about what happens after that. What do I do after I've completed my degree? If I would like to seek careers, if I want to find jobs in Australia, can I do that? Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with this, Australian government has a visa classification called post-study work visa, in which any international students who have completed a minimum of 2 years of study in Australia will be eligible for that post-study work visa, which is an additional number of years that you get to stay in Australia to work, to find your careers around your qualification. So generally, across most of the cities or the country, you get 2 years of post-study work visa, like in major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. But if you choose Perth as a destination, you actually get 3 years. That's an additional 1 year for you to stay back after you've graduated to continue staying in Australia in Perth and find your careers based on your qualification. So you get 3 years of post-study work visa as opposed to other major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. The reason is because the idea behind this is to balance out population growth and population spread across Australia to avoid overpopulation in some of the biggest cities. So in Perth, which is regarded as a growing city, we still have rooms to support population growth and also rooms to develop our economy, to build human resource industry. And that's why we need more people in this city. And that's why if you choose to study in Perth, you get an additional 1 year of post-study to work in your career, and a total of 3 years of your post-study work visa. So that's the comparison between Perth City and Sydney, for example, where you get 2 years in Sydney and 3 years in Perth. Now, just a bit of update, and I think many of you will be keen to know what's happening with Australia, what's happening with COVID in this part of the world. Well, we are progressing very well. In some of the cities like Melbourne and Sydney, which have been hit quite badly in the last 2 to 3 months, they are on the road to recovery. They are getting better. The number of cases are starting to show a slight decline. Where Perth is concerned, the last COVID case we actually had was back at the end of June. So since then, it's almost 3 months or just over 3 months now that we haven't had a single COVID cases. And we're very fortunate due to the hard border control and the strong management of the state government here to manage to control the COVID spread. Because of no COVID cases for the last few months, the government has decided to lift the COVID restrictions. So today, all the restaurants, bars, cafes, museums, clubs, and all public establishments are now open at full capacity. So we're back to normality in life. Masking is no longer required for the last few months already. So everything is back to normal here. So life in Perth is back to normal and it's very safe. The only restriction is the borders, which is still shut. And this is something that everyone is eagerly waiting for the government to eventually announce the reopening of the borders. So you guys who are looking at coming to Australia and eventually to Perth can start making preparations to travel here for your studies. But in the meantime, things have progressed very positively. In fact, because the restaurants are all opening up, the hospitality industry is opening up, that has also created more jobs. We are now close to 10,000 hospitality positions available here in Perth alone. And that is available for international students. So if you're an international student studying here in Perth at any of the universities or schools, you as a student visa holder, you are eligible to work up to 20 hours a week part-time. And those are the kinds of jobs that you can do. And they do pay quite well to help cover some of your living expenses. And you can certainly manage part-time work and full-time study if you do it right. Now, that's an image of the larger city space there. The middle circle or the middle picture is, you can see the dotted line in the circle formation. That's the university size. It's a size of about 100 football fields, about 127 hectares or something like that. Now, I wanted to show this photo so that you can have an idea where we are from the city center or the CBD. In the middle picture, the number 1 circle at the top there is the city center, Perth City. And from where we are to get to the city, you got to travel from number 4 circle, which is the Murdoch station. To get there from the campus, there's a shuttle bus that travels every 5 minutes. And from the train station, you catch 3 train stops of 15 minutes and you are already in the city. So what I'm trying to show here is that the campus location is not in the city, which would have made your accommodation or living and everything else very expensive, but we're not far from the city, which helps for you to shuttle or travel to the city if you wanted to find work or if you want to do anything else, or just for social travel. So it's very convenient. It's part of the metropolitan area, but it's not actually in the city and it's not far from it either. Now, where are we? It's a public university. We're the second oldest university in Perth. We are in the top 100 universities for unis under 50 years old. We're about 45 years old today. We remain in the top 100 for best universities in Asia Pacific. And more importantly, in the third box is the number 1 rating for graduate employment. So that means we have the highest rating for graduates getting jobs upon completing their studies compared to any universities in Australia for the last 3 years. And that's something that we are very proud of. It really reflects on the competency level of our graduates and the quality of the product or program that we offer them. If you're new to Perth, some of you may have been to Australia, and the rest of you may not have been to Australia before, and you may not know anybody here. So if you're new to Perth and studying at Murdoch, what I would recommend is that for the first semester or for your first year of study, think about staying on campus. Why you should do that is because it is located in the university ground. So you are literally 5 to 10 minutes walk from your classroom. It's 24-hour security. So that gives your parents or family members a peace of mind that you are safe in our hands. We also have a resident assistant or RA. They are on duty 24 hours a day to help you if you need anything at all. And best of all, you live with other students and you'll be sharing an apartment with the juniors and the senior students who can provide you the guidance as and when you need it. It's also affordably priced, which I'll show you the price shortly. Now, otherwise, you can look at off-campus. Off-campus meaning, and this applies to anywhere in Australia, not just in Perth, right? If you come here and you want to stay off-campus, it means you're sharing an apartment or sharing a house with 3 or 4 other students. So each of you will have your own room, but you pay your own share. They can be as close as across the road from the university or a few bus stops away. And the other option is living with an Australian family. We call homestay, where they provide the full facility. You only need, I guess you only need to pay for lunch if you're at school. Otherwise, everything is provided. If you choose campus facility, everything is provided except food. That's where you get your groceries nearby and you learn to do some simple cooking at home. Now, I spoke about the living cost in Australia, and then Perth is the most affordable city. And this is a guideline of how much you should set aside effectively to live in Perth comfortably. For accommodation, if you choose on campus, as I mentioned earlier, the rent is about Australian dollars, $156 per week. With that rent that you pay, it already includes bills like electricity, water bills, gas, and unlimited Wi-Fi. The only thing it doesn't include is food, right? And of course, you got to set money aside for food. But if you choose off campus, which is across the road or a few bus stops away, rent is much cheaper, about $120 a week. But at the end of the month, you just need to add another $30 of your bills, $30 for your share of the bills. That total will be around $600 to $800. And then set aside another $400 to $500 for the food, transportation, internet usage, and social activities. So your monthly total should be anywhere between $1,200 and $1,300. It's very reasonable compared to some of the bigger cities in Australia. And some students would use the opportunity to work part-time to cover a significant amount of these living expenses. And you can as well. During the holidays, if you don't go home, you can work full-time or unlimited hours. So that's a little bit something about the city, about general lifestyle of the city. We have about 3,000 international students from all over the world. The largest population of international students, incidentally, is from India, followed by Bhutan. We have quite a big population of Bhutanese, Nepalese, and from Singapore. That's it. All those countries are in the top 5 of our university international population. Now, with the next few slides, I'm not going to spend too much time with it because we have over 200 courses, and I do encourage you to spend some time. I'm going to share with you the e-brochure at the end of the presentation. I'll send you the link so you can read more about each of these courses and see what suits your career aspirations, right? Now, but generally, we offer a multiple number of majors for each degree. For example, business and law school, we have bachelor of business in banking, business law, entrepreneurship, finance, so on and so forth. When you choose your degree program, you also need to find a major. So if you want to study business, so your degree will be called Bachelor of Business, but you need to find a major. What major do I want to specialize in? If you like to do marketing, then you choose marketing as a major, or accounting as a major, so on and so forth. And likewise, if you go into Bachelor of Creative Arts and Communication, those are all the specialization for you to choose from, where we will then train you around the majors that you choose. If you want to be involved in movies, you'll be looking at screen production, sound, and that kind of majors, and you'll be trained around those specialization. Most of our degree duration is 3 years, except with the exception of a few like law and veterinary science. Now, for those students who are looking at undergraduate area around health science, we have chiropractic science, which is a double degree program of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Chiropractic Science. It's 5 years in duration. Food Science and Nutrition, that's a 3-year degree. Bachelor of Nursing, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, or Bachelor of Science in Psychology. And then, of course, Bachelor of Sports and Exercise Science. But we have a full list of other science majors that you can choose from within our science faculty. And everything that you can see on the screen is all a 3-year duration, except veterinary science at the bottom. Then there's the cultural studies, or Bachelor of Arts in Language, Bachelor of Arts in International Aid, Bachelor of Arts in Sustainable Development, Community Development, and a whole range that you can choose from. Now, all of these majors that you see, right? Many universities offer that too. What is the difference? Why Murdoch? Why should I choose international relations at Murdoch? Why should I choose marketing? Why should I choose psychology at Murdoch? Why should I choose science at Murdoch? Now, for any of these programs that you do, one of the things that you will be doing in your final year is you get the opportunity to participate in work integrated learning, WIL. Work integrated learning is a professional placement or a professional project where you are assigned to one of our affiliated company partners to do some internship. You may be involved in projects that they assign you to do, and all that will be counted towards your final semester studies or final year studies. Why is that important? That is important because right now in today's age, when it comes to looking for careers, there will be 1,000 marketing graduates, there will be 1,000 psychology graduates. How are you different from the others? The point of difference is the practical experience that we are applying into your program to give you that current and relevant practical experience. So that's very important to know about that. Every degree that you choose, you get to do the internship, which you can include in your CV and use that to promote yourself, to sell yourself when you apply for work in future and for the job of your choice. And it applies to education as well. And our teaching programs are all accredited, which allows you to teach in Australia in future. Majors, the 4 majors you see on the screen are 4 years in duration, a little bit different from the others. And of course, last but not least, IT specialization. For those who are interested in IT, we've got about 7 or 8 there on the screen. Anywhere from artificial intelligence to information system, comp science, cybersecurity, GameSec, chem stack, right down to physics and nanotechnology. They're all 3 years in duration. And Murdoch's IT program has constantly won state awards many times over. One of the things that make our IT very popular and has a strong reputation is because of the practical application that I mentioned through internships and professional projects. But more importantly, in your final semester of studies, in your final project presentation, that will be assessed not by the academics, but by the people in the industry themselves. They will be assessing your work, and very often, what I'm hearing from the school is very often at the end of those presentations, many of our final year graduates start getting offers from the industry people that came and assess them at the final project presentation. And that's a very powerful tool for us to use to promote this program. Now, if you're not familiar with double majors, the way it works is when you do a bachelor degree, as I mentioned earlier, you need to identify a major. So if you say Bachelor of Business, you like to do marketing, so that becomes your major. But at the same time, you are eligible or you are allowed to do a double major and still complete in 3 years. So how it works is when you do a double major, the duration will remain the same as somebody who did single major. It doesn't go up to double the number of duration, number of years, or 6 years. No, it's still 3 years, but it's still complete with double major. You will complete with the same number of units or subjects as someone who did a single major. So in fact, typically for business, you will be completing about 24 subjects over 3 years. That's 8 subjects per year, so 24 over 3 years. If you do double major, you will still complete the same number of subjects. So if someone asks me, is it more difficult to do double major? No, it's just the same. But what it gives you is more benefits along the way. And the other benefit is the financial returns. The fees that you pay for a single major is the same as the fees you pay for a double major. So you don't pay extra. You pay the same fees for to get 2 different specialization. More importantly, having a double major always makes you very competitive in the market. It gives you better leverage when you start seeking careers after that. If, for example, let's look at business major that we talked about. So if you want to do marketing, but you're also interested in finance, you can do a double major in marketing and finance. You can find careers around marketing, and you can also find jobs in finance that opens up more doors of opportunity for you. And having a second skill set also gives you more competitiveness than other students or graduates with a single major, which takes you closer to getting the career of your choice. So I always encourage you to consider doing double major. It must be the same major. The 2 majors must sit within the same degree. So if you are doing Bachelor of Business, so the 2 majors must be within the Bachelor of Business degree. Any of the 2 on the list that you see on your screen. And likewise, if you're doing arts, any of the 2 that you see on the screen, and so on and so forth, science and humanities and IT. That's double major definition. The other one is called double degree. What does double degree? It means that your second major sits under a different degree. So let's say you are doing Bachelor of Law, but you are also interested to do psychology. Psychology sits under arts or science. So because the 2 different majors come from a different degree, that becomes a combined degree. When you have a combined degree, you have to add 1 more year of your study. So if your degree is 3 years, you have to top up to make it 4. If your degree duration is 4, you have to top up 1 more year to make it 5. So there you go, as you speak. As you can see there, you will complete 2 different degrees at the same time. It will require 1 extra year to complete your degree. So there will be 1 year additional for your tuition fees to pay as well. Some of the double degree combinations include Bachelor of Creative Media and Communication, Bachelor of Criminology and Bachelor of Psychology, Law with Arts, Business, Criminology or Science, Chiro and Clinical Chiro, and of course, Bachelor of Science and Doctor of Vet Medicine. So you have both options to consider when you decide what to study. Now, I have been advised that many of you are doing your CBSC. So if you're from Indian qualification or high school, that's the minimum score that we need for you to qualify into our program to meet the academic requirement. So you need 2 requirements here. One is academic, one is English. So the academic requirement is for all CBSE school, a minimum of 60% average in best for academic subjects for class 12, senior secondary. And of course, 65 average in best 4 academic subjects for higher secondary students. I can see that the compare Agna raised your hand. Did you have a question?
Yes, sorry to interrupt, but we actually have a time limitation. So
Sure.
I would request you to please conclude your presentation.
Okay, sure, will do. So that's an entry requirement, and for English, you need IELTS of 6.0 with no band less than 6.0. You can also do TOEFL or Pearson or Cambridge Advanced English. The only exception to the rule is law, education, nursing, and veterinary science, where you need anywhere between 6.5 to 7.0, which is much higher. Otherwise, the 6.0 minimum is justifiable. Now, I'm going to jump to the more important part here. While we are not sure when the borders will open for Australia, in the event that you are commencing your semester during the time when the borders are still locked, which means you have to study online, what we are offering you for your online commencement for that semester is a special 40% scholarship. This will go towards your tuition fees, and that means you get a 40% deduction, making it even more attractive in terms of competitive tuition fees that you are paying. Now, you will continue getting this scholarship for every semester that you're studying online until the borders open. And when the borders open, you are expected to travel to Perth and resume your study at Murdoch. But once you arrive for your face-to-face studies, we will then convert your online scholarship to a face-to-face scholarship, which is up to the value of $12,000. So for the remaining semesters that you have to complete, you will be eligible for additional scholarship for the face-to-face component. So regardless whether you're studying online or face-to-face, there will be some form of scholarship available for you throughout the semester until you graduate. So that's something that is very important. And the requirement is you just need to meet the minimum entry, as I mentioned earlier, for India high school students, and also meeting the English requirement. So the moment you meet the minimum entry requirement, it will automatically appear in your offer letter. You just need to accept the offer letter, and the scholarship is available for you. So that's effectively what I wanted to share, really information about Perth City, Australia itself, COVID updates, Murdoch University in general, where we are ranked, the courses that we offer, and of course the scholarships available for you based on meeting the minimum high school entry requirement. And when you're ready to apply, speak to your counselors, study co. I think they are scheduling a one-on-one session, and I believe it's in the chat box for you to drop your preference in the link on when you would like to do a one-on-one session with me. I'd be more than happy to speak to you. Thank you very much. That's my presentation for today. That's my email address. You can call me for Zil, of course, and you can also reach out to me by WhatsApp or email address, and I'll be more than happy to discuss all your options further at a later stage. What I'll also do while I'm waiting for question and answers, and while I speak to the other panelists, is I'll drop a few links, including our e-brochure in the chat box. So you, at your free time, pull out the links and start looking through all the options and check out our website, including accommodations, scholarships, as well as course options. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, sir. It was truly an enriching and empowering session. Sir, may I request you to answer a few queries which have been raised by our valued audience. Sir, may I now invite our moderator for the session to share with you the questions raised by our audience.
Good morning, sir. It was indeed an enriching and empowering session. Today, we have few questions raised by our valued audience. Can I go ahead, sir?
Yes, please.
The first question is there speech and hearing in Murdoch University?
Speech and hearing, okay. That's a good question, and I can give you a straight answer for that because we do not offer that program. But it's one of those very niche programs that's not widely available in every university in Australia. But if you are seriously thinking Perth City as a destination, then you may like to check one other university called University of Western Australia, and the other one could be Curtin University. So those would be the two that would specialize in in highly niche areas like what you just mentioned earlier.
Thank
And
you,
if you're
sir.
not sure, please reach out to StudyCo. I'm sure they will be able to assist you in reaching out to those universities.
Thank you, sir. The second question is from Abhinav, and he's asking, what is the average tuition fee for 3-year course?
The average tuition fee for 3-year course is around, it depends on the course, right? If you're doing arts, for example, it's about anywhere from 26 to $28,000 Australian dollars. And mind you, Australian dollars is lower than the US dollars. I might quickly pull out just for your information here, since everybody is looking at the screen. I will share the screen right now. You'll be able to see the link. So for business, it's anywhere around, it's generally about $28,000 for business area. So 3 years would be about $85,000. So if you deduct the 40% scholarship, you can do the mathematics there. For every semester, so 28 is per year. So you pay every semester. So there's 2 semesters per year. In Australia, the intake is February and July. So each semester you pay about $14,000 for business, but before you deduct your scholarships, whether it's up to $12,000 or the 40% scholarship. For anything around creative arts is around $28,000 as well. Communication, $28,000. So I can say the average would be around $28,000 to $29,000. Science would be a little bit more, like psychology and food science and all that would be about $31,000. So between 28, 30,000, 31,000. So if you take a ballpark figure, 29 and a half.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for responding to all the queries postponed. And over to you, comparers.
Thank you, sir. We are truly grateful for your relevant, valued, and patient answers to all our queries. I'm sure the participants are enlightened and have got a true picture about the prospects available for them at your esteemed organization. Dear audience, a gentle reminder, you are requested to fill in the feedback form which has been posted in the chat box. Filling this form is necessary as it would fetch you a participation certificate. Those who have joined through YouTube are requested to check the description box for the link of the feedback form.
As we have come to an end of this enriching session, I reckon it a privilege to put my gratitude into words. It is my pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. Let me first express a profound gratitude to the organizing team and the entire audience. To His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said for the magnanimous benevolence showered in the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and His country. We extend heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr. Fozal Jafar from Murdoch University for his words of motivation. Thank you, sir. Our deepest sense of
Thanks very
appreciation.
much. Sorry, I
Yeah.
just want to quickly add, please don't forget to go to check the links that I have shared in the chat box. If you missed out on any information from the presentation, everything that I shared, you can find them in the chat links and in the links that I've dropped in the chat box on the right side of your computer. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Shivakumar Manikam, Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Sultanate of Oman, and other esteemed members of the Board of Directors, distinguished officials from CBSE, and officials from the Indian Embassy. Thank you all for encouraging presence and guidance at all times.
A heartfelt thanks to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, the Honorary President of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, school management committees, and other members of the School Management Committee for their profound encouragement at all times. I also wish to take this opportunity to express a heartfelt gratitude to our prudent captain of the Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir ship, Mr. D.N. Rao, Principal, Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, Honorable Principals of the schools in the MENA region, Indian schools in Oman, Vice Principals, Assistant Vice Principals, Heads of various departments, Coordinators, Supervisors, and the entire teaching fraternity for their support and guidance. I wish to thank each and every student and parent for their valuable presence in making this session a grand success.
We are indeed grateful to our platinum sponsor, StudyCo, gold sponsor, Giant Group of Institutions, Grey Matter Academic, Willow Institute of Technology, and Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education, bronze sponsor, Middle East College Oman, Thapa Institute of Engineering and Technology, Dallas Baptist University, and MIT World Peace University, Pune, media sponsor, The Arabian Stories, and digital partner, Spectrum. An event of this kind requires coordination of a committed team. Thank you to the Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir team for making Evany 2021 possible. Thank you all. See you soon for the next session.